Hey everybody, Mario here, otherwise known as Y2 on my interwebs, and welcome to another edition of the 52 Review. So I picked up 4 DC comics this week for the week of Wednesday, March 4th, 2012, and we'll get started with Red Lanterns number 8. So do you remember last month's issue of Red Lanterns where I felt like Peter Milligan just kind of lost a little sense of direction? Remember how I said that it needed a little heading because it seemed to have lost it? Well, I do believe that Milligan has found that heading once again, and I really like this issue. Now, as you know, Atrocitus' mistakes literally sprang themselves up from the ground and pretty much overtook him in the last issue. Also, we get to see the first human in this universe, Red Lantern, by the name of Jack Moore, otherwise known as Rancor. Alright, not the most original names, but I like it. And we get to see what Bleeze is doing with her, I guess, insurrection against Atrocitus. I felt that was kind of a missed opportunity to see a full-blown Red Lantern Civil War. That would have been really cool, but it just never materialized. Kind of disappointing. However, Atrocitus' mistakes literally come back to haunt him as they do some serious damage, and could very well be the death knell for the Red Lantern Corps. I just feel it's kind of odd that another human lantern, of a different color mind you, shows up, and it's like, oh, so it looks like he's gonna be the savior of this Lantern Corps. Okay. It's just a little odd, and I just felt like it's been done to death in, another color Lantern Corps. Hint, hint. Still, I did say wow a lot in the cliffhanger ending. Business has just picked up, definitely. I can't wait to see what issue 9 brings. Good issue, solid issue, nicely done. Next up is Justice League International, number 8. Alright, so I kind of have mixed feelings about this issue. Once again, Dan Jurgens is firing on all cylinders. The story itself, there's nothing wrong with it. We're still dealing with some fallout from what happened 2 issues ago. Booster Gold trying to get to the bottom of who exactly is behind the attack on the UN and on the JLI. But he doesn't have to do it alone, as Nightwing shows up to assist. Now, I'm not too big on Nightwing, and I'm still a little iffy, so I really felt that he really didn't belong here. But Batman does throw in a good word and kind of justifies why he is there in the first place. And those two certainly did a lot more than Lady Godiva, Guy Gardner, and freaking August General and Iron did. Still though, I guess I too am reeling from all that happened in the last 2 issues. Like I said, JLI took a dramatic direction change after issue 6. Never saw it coming. I thought it was just going to be another lighthearted romp comic, like a B with a B team. Never expected it to be anything more than that. But this has been a surprise hit with me. Although I am bothered because there were not 1 but 2 guest characters that showed up in this comic. And it's been my personal experience that whenever guest characters show up in another series, it usually doesn't go so well for that comic series. So I'm really hoping I'm totally off base and wrong about this, but I don't know, there's just something in the back of my mind that's like, a little uncertain about the fate of JLI. However, the series is going really strong, and I'm hoping that I'm just grasping straws. I love this issue. You should check it out. Next up, Detective Comics, number 8. Okay, so, I think it's no secret that I wasn't exactly a fan of the whole Penguin story arc, considering that we've pretty much had that arc deal with everyone except the Penguin, who Tony Daniel made it seem like was going to be the main villain. But at least we'll actually get to see a wrap of the story arc in this issue. What? What's that, subtitles? Oh, okay. Well, I did read it, but, it was kind of a blur. Well, let me see. There's no way in hell that they could just skip to another story arc without concluding the Where's the Penguin? Why is Cap... Oh, come on! Really, Daniels? Really? You did it to me again, didn't you, Tony Daniel? Wow. So once again, we haven't seen a conclusion to a story arc, and instead we just jump ahead to another story. I may not be a writer. In fact, I might even go far as to say is that I'm not really a reliable critique of writing. But it's been my experience that most storylines have an exposition, where you set up character, setting, plot, yada yada. Conflict, where you get to see man versus antagonist, hero versus nature. Something to continue with the storyline, to add conflict. And, quite honestly, the most important aspect, resolution. How everything wraps up, concludes, closes. There's been none of that in 8 issues. 2 story arcs, no solid conclusions for either. And I'm still not over the Dollmaker story arc. And while the Penguin story arc wasn't exactly, how shall we say, stellar, it at least deserved an ending. Nope. But I will give Tony Daniel credit for making issue 8 a standalone issue, have a proper beginning, middle, and conclusion. Seriously though, while I am upset that twice we've been screwed over, as a standalone issue, this was actually really well done. And I also enjoyed the backup featuring Two-Face. That is actually amazing. And I wonder if that's going to lead to anything in the future. But before we do that, how about we conclude a story arc? Pretty please? Daniel's writing is okay. His artwork is fantastic. Just conclude stuff, please. And finally, like this really should surprise anybody, my pick of the week for this edition of the 52 Review, Action Comics number 8. So, we finally get a wrap up to the story arc featuring young, early Superman. And it's been a wild ride. I know a lot of people were not thrilled with the break that happened in issues 5 and 6, but I personally enjoyed it. I thought that it added more depth and background to Superman as a character. And I feel that the entire run, the entire 8 issues as a whole, has done nothing less than to redefine the character and make sure where he stands in this new universe. This new Superman in this new universe. How he's defined and his relevancy, really. How relevant he is. Because, you know, back in the day, he really came off as too much of a Boy Scout. And I'm really glad that that's no longer the case. Thank goodness for Grant Morrison. That being said, the wrap-up with the Collector, whom, as we find out, is Brainiac, was handled really well. We get to find out a lot of things. For example, this mysterious little man that we may or may not have seen in a couple of issues ago. The fact that Superman's armor kind of works interestingly. The fact that we probably have not seen the last of Lex Luthor. That much is guaranteed. And pretty much the fact that we were probably going to see more of Steel. Grant Morrison just knocks him out of the park, and he does a good job of redefining and making relevant heroes that, well, kind of didn't have a place. The only other person that has been successfully doing that in the DCU right now is Jeff Johns. So, and don't bring up Scott Snyder. He's amazing and a god of writing, but Batman doesn't need redefining. The only thing I really didn't like about this issue is the tag teaming of artwork that happened. I felt that Rags Morales should have handled the entire issue. I especially didn't like the epilogue. Not a big fan of that artwork. But we found out a lot of things as a character, and the fact that now we know why Superman went from renegade vigilante to beloved protector of Metropolis and beyond. So pretty much, I love this issue. I love Action Comics. I love the entire run so far. I can't wait to see what's next. I'm kind of still used to the pants and shirt Superman, and pretty much to how things have been. I really don't know where it'll go, and I really hope that it stays consistently amazing, because that's how I feel Action Comics has been as a whole. Consistently amazing. Action Comics is all together now. one of my top 6 favorite DC comics out there now. You're learning. Good job. Alright, so that does it for me this week. What are your thoughts? What do you think about all the comics that I talked about today? I'm pretty sure some of you have differences of opinion with regards to Action Comics. Feel free to post about that. What do you think? Do you think Red Lanterns is gaining its groove back slowly but surely? And what do you think about JLI's guest stars? Is that a sign of doom, or am I just being paranoid? Leave your comments below on the commentary plot. As always, I do read them, and I will get back to them. And that's that for me. Live Nerdcore, White 2, I'm out.